So for the past 5 to 6 years, I have been into photography, and over the past years, I have bought a lot of camera equipment. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what all I have in my camera equipment, what all do I carry when I usually go for shoots, and I'm going to talking about everything that I actually even own. So for my camera bag, I carry with me the Wildcraft Shutterbug Pro. I believe this bag is just available in India. I got this from India. My friends got this for me on my birthday. This is the largest model that they have, largest size that they have. I personally love this bag for a lot of reasons personally, because I believe it has a lot of cushions, so it keeps your camera gear protected. It has a section over here where you can keep all your equipments, all your cards, SD cards, everything. Over here you can keep all your small stuff underneath. If you can see, small section. Keep your maybe extra camera over here. You can keep your tripods, mini tripods, everything inside this. And then in case you open this, that's where all your big expensive stuff goes. Okay, so that's where all your camera equipment goes. Then it even has a laptop compartment at the back. The only drawback that I felt about this camera bag is that it's quite heavy. So when I have all my camera equipment inside this, including my tripod and laptop bag, it gets really heavy to carry around, and my bag gets a lot of sweaty. So that's the only drawback I felt. Otherwise, I personally love this camera bag. Okay, my camera. I shoot on the Nikon Z6 II. This is a flagship camera from Nikon. When I bought it back in 2020, I believe this is one of the most flagship cameras that they came around at that time. It's a mirrorless camera. It's one of my personal favorites for the reason that it shoots really good sharp quality images. That's what I personally believe. And it has two SD card slots, one for the CF Express cards and the SD cards. I have been using this camera for the last 3 years, three and a half years. I personally have absolutely no complaints from this. I am using the F to Z mount adapter on this camera with the 50mm f1.8. As you can see, it also comes attached with the Peak Design camera straps. This is my go-to shooting equipment whenever I'm shooting models per se, because it gives me really sharp quality images with great colors. I personally am a huge fan. I have been thinking of shifting to Sony for the past few months now because of the A7R Mark V. I believe that I might switch, but for the time being, you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't change it. So for the time being, I'm going to be shooting on this, and it is one of my favorite cameras that I have. I also carry with me this small camera bag from Nikon. I got this free with my camera, and this is really portable. You can just put it as a sling bag around yourself and you can go for shoots. This is what I usually carry outside, unless I have to carry my other big lenses, because in this camera bag you can just fix a maximum of 2 lenses. That's the drawback. But again, if you're just going for a portrait shoot, if you're going just for a landscape shoot, and you know that your entire shoots is going to be just on one particular lens, this is my go-to option, and I really love this camera bag. Coming to my lenses, as you all probably know, I came to Australia for my masters. I'm studying construction management from the University of Melbourne, and I had to leave most of my camera lenses behind because I could not carry all of them with me. I personally owned the 18 to 55mm, I owned the 55 to 200mm, the 70 to 300mm, and I had to leave all of those behind because I had to be very selective as to what I carried with myself back to Australia because of obviously the weight issues. The lenses that I have with me include the 24 to 70 f4. This is a Z-mount lens. This is the kit lens that I got with me with my Nikon Z6 II. This is one of the most fantastic lenses that I have because obviously it's Z-mount. It has the best quality glass Nikon has ever come with. And I personally love this because this is what I use when I'm shooting outdoors, when I'm doing street photography, when I am not quite sure as to what focal length I might need. So this is the camera lens that I use for that. The second lens that I have with me, with myself in Australia, is the 50mm prime lens f1.8. This is an extremely sharp lens, and it is the only lens that I use when I'm shooting portraits because of its very low aperture. And as you can see, I was shooting portraits recently and I still have it attached to my camera. So this is what I use for my shots, and honestly, a really good lens. But this is the second lens that I have bought with myself to Australia. This is pretty affordable lens as well. I don't exactly remember how much I got this for, but again, if you can check the Nikon's website, it's pretty cheap. And it's definitely worth the price. And for anyone who's getting into photography, wants to buy a beginner lens, this and a kit lens is the lens that everyone actually even owns. I'm pretty sure you would already have this lens, and this is one of the basic starter lenses that you get. Very cheap, very affordable, and definitely worth the price. Okay, now coming to the bad boy. Dark horse, as I like to call it. This is my Nikon 200 to 500 mm lens. This is the lens that I use because I am really passionate wildlife photographer, and this is the lens that I use for all my wildlife photography. It goes all the way up to 500 mm. It's really big, and it's heavier than it looks like, which is why it has a tripod mount below it, right below it, so that this is the part that goes on a tripod, and you cannot actually just place the camera within it because it will pivot and it will break. It's a really heavy lens, and this is what every Nikon photographer uses. I believe that the Nikon recently came up with its Z-mount lenses for wildlife, the super zoom lenses. I'm really not sure if I will buy them because I might be shifting to Sony really soon. But again, while I got this back in 2019, 2020, I'm really not sure. But this is the lens that I use for all my bird photography, all my wildlife photography, and honestly, I love it. It's worth it. It was quite expensive. I'm really not sure how much it was, but definitely I liked it. Worth the investment for me personally. Might not be worth for you, because if you are a wildlife photographer, only then it is worth spending so much money in. Otherwise, there are tons of other options. There's a 70 to 300 mm that you can buy, you can purchase, and it will suffice. Unless you actually want to go all the way up to 500 mm, this is not the lens that you would buy. I think it has only one aperture, f5.6. It does not go lower than that, and yeah, so it will not be beneficial to you any other ways if you're not doing wildlife. I also own the GoPro Hero 12, which is what I am shooting on right now. As you can see, the images are pretty distorted, which is because I'm shooting on an action camera. The reason I bought this camera is because it has a front screen which allows me to see what I am actually recording, and instead of buying another whole ass camera, I just bought this, which was pretty affordable and allowed me to actually see, because in case you know, the Nikon screen does not flip. It just comes out, it does not flip, so I do not know, in case I am shooting on this, I do not know what I'm recording. Which is why I wanted a camera in which I could actually see myself, because it's happened more than once where I was actually recording a video and I was not in focus in the entire video, so I did not get a chance to post it. The GoPro is actually one of my best investments. I recently bought it not even a week back, and it was honestly one of the best investments that I could buy, because it's really helpful. It allows you to shoot different modes. You can shoot a time lapse on it, you can shoot star photographs, you can shoot light trails. A lot of things that you would not be naturally be able to do on a regular camera, you can do on a GoPro. I also own the VideoMic Go 3 by Rode. This is what I attach to my main camera, my Z6 II, while I'm recording. How do you even get this thing out? So this is what I attach to my Z6 II when I'm shooting, because I believe that this gives you a better audio quality as compared to the natural camera. I haven't bought a dead cat over it yet, because I had been recommended to buy that because there's a lot of wind in Melbourne, and I believe that the dead cat, it cancels out the wind. So I will be buying that, most probably, not really sure at the moment, because I now got the GoPro to shoot all my videos on. But yes, that's one of the equipments that I also own. I've spent a lot of money on all of this. Okay, coming to the SD cards. I have two of these. I have the SanDisk 48 Mbps 32 GB Ultra SD cards. I have one 32 GB card and one 64 GB card for my main cameras. I honestly did not get the higher end SD cards because I believe that this was sufficient for my camera style, because I do not need a very high end camera, because high-end SD card, because my camera is not that flagship. So for me, these writing speeds were sufficient, so I did not get the higher ones. I also have a 64 GB micro SD card installed in the SanDisk, and that is the one, those small SD cards, in case you remember, you know, the ones that you used to install on phones. That one goes into my GoPro. I also have a mini tripod. This is the mini tripod that I shoot on. I just attach my GoPro on the top of this and I can vlog, because it's much easier to do that, because the GoPro is much lighter as compared to the camera. So it's easier for me to vlog. I use this, in case I even need to shoot light trails, I want to shoot anything that has long exposure, I can just put my GoPro on this, put it on the corner, and it will shoot really good photographs from personal experience. Which is why I also believe that this is one of my favorite investments as well. Got this for like, what, 20 bucks? $20? That's the extent of it, just $20, and I believe fantastic. Okay, so the laptop that I use is the HP Pavilion gaming laptop. I do not game. I am not interested in gaming at all. The reason that I bought such a heavy laptop was because I had to run heavy softwares on it, and I personally prefer Windows over a Mac. I am an iPhone user, I have an iPad, but I still prefer using Windows because I just believe that it's more user friendly. For me personally, could not be for you, but for me personally it was the best, and this is the laptop that I use for all my editing, and good enough. Okay, so that was all for this video. That was all my camera gear in front of you. If you did like my video, do consider liking and subscribing, and until then, see you next time.